doing threesomes and all along
Yeah,
those.
so all right, so they found some sharks doing a three-way.
Right.
So I'm constantly, I mean, it's basic biology, but like on Twitter yesterday, um, they had a picture of a sexually aroused turtle.
Hmm.
And turtles, I think, are fantastic animals, but the idea that the turtles should make anything horny is crazy. But this turtle was like into it. It's nuts. I mean, every animal on Earth is the product of billions of generations of sexual reproduction. But it's crazy what makes animals horny.
What makes them horny, and I mean, like a human.
Dolphins. Don't Google horny dolphins. Dolphins are some of the crazy have some crazy sexual behavior.
They do have that, and I see we got Dr. Sharif, and there was a report because one of the things that Trump was always complaining about with higher education and everything like that was studies that were spent a lot of money, and I think there was a study about a animal. I'm trying to remember which animal it was. It was one of the sea creatures, but it was on a treadmill and claiming that it cost some amount of money to put that. Uh,
All right, shrimp. No, that's the myth of the $3 million shrimp treadmill or something. The
and
deal is
apparently this treadmill, because I was watching it on one of those other talk shows and everything like that, only cost the researcher like $50 to buy the treadmill because he was.
$47 out of his own pocket. The reason they were putting shrimp on a treadmill was, I think, to measure the effect of bacteria in the
Right,
water on
right,
aquatic creatures, and one way to do it is to see how much it messes up a shrimp. So it didn't they didn't use up millions of dollars in government funding to put a shrimp on a treadmill. They used, yeah, as you said, less than $50 out of the researcher's own pocket. A lot of the times, like when if you're doing research, it's cheaper just to buy some cheap stuff yourself and not go through filling out the forms and all that. The teachers know this, that instead of trying to get chalk for your classroom through official channels, you just buy your own frickin' chalk.
Well,
that
there's a
makes sense.
difference with teachers because teachers have to pay for it. They don't offer that money to the teachers in the first place. That money's got taken away. But yeah, in terms of researchers, yes, researchers end up spending a lot of their money because they don't get the funding right off the bat.
Right, they don't get the money off the bat. Speaking of not getting the money off the bat, and like I said, I did watch the majority of it, but and I'm sure you watched it. You used to work for the man, but what was your take on Jimmy Kimmel and his return? It looked like he didn't pull any punches against Trump, and he definitely
So
did have sympathy
So
toward.
he did a good job. He got choked up at various times. He talked about what MAGA attacks Kimmel, calling him a scumbag and worse. Kimmel is a good Christian. Frickin' Kimmel is highly Catholic. His wife is Catholic. They got married by a Catholic priest, and so's Colbert. Everybody's frickin' Colbert taught Sunday school. These are good people who practice Christian principles in their daily lives. And like, so Jimmy was talking about Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, forgiving the shooter. And he got choked up and almost cried. It's now, this is inside information I shouldn't talk about, but it was well known on the show that Jimmy is an easy cry. He's an emotional guy. And when he sees something that touches him or upsets him, he gets choked up, which I think makes him very human. And that happened several times last night as he was thanking America. He was very touched by all the support he got. I thought it was funny, though, not in the places where it needed to be funny. And it was, I, I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too, and like I said, from what I saw, I didn't think I saw maybe about 3/4 of it or something along those lines. So I did watch the majority of it. And it was even interesting. He was talking about the unity effort, and it's something that Toby talks about, because he's talking about how a lot of folks that he was surprised by, they were on the opposite side of the court, were also very much on his side when it came to freedom of speech. So a lot of people know that Ted Cruz is very conservative, as is Joe Rogan, and a number of these folks actually came to his aid and support and everything like that. And he mentioned that, and I think that's another time that he got a little teary and everything like that. So he definitely mentioned that folks were that he was surprised that some of his quote unquote nemesis were on his side.
Yeah, and the people like that job, that particular job is one of the, it's a really tough job to do, being a talk show host. And it takes so many different skill sets. You have to be funny. You have to be quick. Like Kimmel and Carolla came from radio. Radio, as you know, because you come from radio, trains you to come up with the next thought fast, because if there's dead air, you sound like an idiot. You just have to keep the words coming. And ideally, the words make sense. So you have to be funny, you have to be fast. And because you're interviewing other people, you have to be genuinely interested in other people. And that is a rare, also you have to be a great administrator, because you're sitting on, you're at the head of maybe 200 employees to make the show happen. And also above you are all the execs at the network. You know, for Jimmy, it's ABC, Disney. So you're right at this little, like this pressure point where you got all the people below you, all the people, and huge pressure all the time. I mean, it's not the most, you know, nobody's curing cancer with a talk show, but it's a high pressure job. And it means that the people who end up in that job succeeding, and Jimmy has been doing it for 22 and a half years, are usually really smart, skilled, good people. And you see it in Colbert, you see it in Kimmel, Fallon, you know, great guy. Jon Stewart, fantastic frickin' guy. There's only, and I won't say his name, there's only one talk show guy that I'm aware of who was kind of a jagoff, who kind of would just, you know, show up, you know, in the afternoon, pick a few jokes, go out, say that. Everybody else is you know, Letterman, genius. Johnny Carson, genius. Leno, all a genius. Everybody in their own way is it's just a job that requires a ton of talent, and also to not be a jackass.
Definitely can't be a jackass. Hey, Dr. Sharif, what's going on over there in Bangladesh? I mentioned that there's this new symbol. I think it's that parrot symbol that all the young people are using in Nepal and Bangladesh and everybody like that. So are you seeing that symbol? I want to say it's the parrot, the eye patch or something like that along those lines. But are you seeing that in some of the protests in your area, and what else is going on? I'm imagining that you did not watch Jimmy Kimmel, because I'm thinking Jimmy Kimmel was probably on in the very early morning hours for you and everything like that.
I do not see this kind of symbol, but right now our government top bodies, they are visiting New York for UN conference, and some of the youth representative visiting USA from Bangladesh, I think from around the world, they are visiting New York for UN show. Beside these things, I just want to share our World Talent Economic Forum. We are collaborating with India Institute of Technology, and they are developing 500 startup. So all of the young people, talented people, most talented people from IIT, they are developing startup. Definitely Pod TV is a part of this ecosystem, and we are working together to build up this ecosystem for next few years. And I believe that if you see the present world, the economic revolutions and these technological developments completely depend on youth. So if you see this, like this AI industries, how it's revolutions around the world, and if any country has youth communities like India, like Bangladesh, like Pakistan, like China, then you can be economic superpower. So these are the things we are observing in the emerging economy. definitely in India, Greater India. I want to add Pakistan and Bangladesh and some other countries from South Asia. Definitely China. There are some countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, and Malaysia. These are the countries, and in Africa, African community has a great future. Beside that, from emerging economy, there are a lot of climate-related issues. That is the things we are trying to solve. Recently, you can see the Taiwan has flood, Hong Kong has flood, China has some sort of evacuations are underway. Also, you can see that Bangkok also has some sort of disasters. So these are the things that are happening. On the other hand, in Asia, if you see this trade related discussion in ASEAN, US preparing to finalize trade agreement with the South Asian nations. So this is also important for trade and commerce. On the other hand, you can see economic pressure. Asian stock market decline broadly, influctuated by the weak manufacturing data in Japan and global uncertainty over US interest rate. IMF also released some sort of information which is focused on the tax collections and these kind of things. And China is trying to developing a diplomatic relationship through Global Development Initiative or GDI, and they said it would roll out around 2,000 new projects in developing countries. So China Belt and Road Initiative or this project related activities, mega projects for manufacturing is happening. The last show with this Honorable David Walker, I mentioned China long time taking preparations for this trade tariff. That's why they do focus on emerging economy like Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Malaysia, and Indonesia. This market. That's why they do all of their trade and all kind of activities with them. Immigration also will be the most challenging things beside these climate related activities and climate related initiative in South Asia. I want to share that we need to create a proper relationship uh, with the developed nations, with G7. That is also important for emerging economy. That's all from my side. Thank you.
No problem at all and everything. Hey, Rick, can you tell me what is your take on the UN conference? I did see where Trump, and I mentioned it earlier, had basically called out our allies and everything like that and said they had to get their act together, even though they're probably thinking that we need to
He shows up at the UN and he tells the entire UN, "I'm great. Your countries are going to hell." Like, how can anybody take this guy seriously?
Aceta or isometaphan. How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
can't.
you can't take this man seriously. You can't. Acetaminophen.
All right, but I want to go back to talk show hosts again for a second. So Jon Stewart was a
Yeah.
stand-up comedian who gets the Daily Show, and then he turns the Daily Show into this like the preferred news source for Gen X for years and years until he retires. But after he retires, he uses his time to advocate for all the people who suffered huge medical problems, for helping out at ground zero at 9/11, because those towers disintegrated. They turned into dust. The people in the towers turned into dust, and the people who showed up to help to try to save people breathed in this toxic ass dust and got all sorts of terrible diseases. And the main guy fighting for him, the biggest, was Jon Stewart for years and years. And then Jon Stewart realized that vets were suffering the same thing and became a huge advocate for vets. So, Jon Stewart, great guy. John Oliver, a terrific guy whose show focuses on a different problem. They do deep research every week to in a funny way, inform America about shit that's going on, as compared to like other stations, Fox, who just try to bury America in bullshit.
I think that's who I was watching last night with John Oliver, because I think he's the one that brought up the story about the shrimp, because he did one on Trump and education.
Yeah, you're right. It was John Oliver. All these people are freaking terrific people.
Cool.
Which, and there have been so there have been some women in late night. People talk about how no women, it's all white guys named Jimmy. But Amber Ruffin had a late night show for a while. She's awesome. Taylor Tomlinson had a show for a while.
I think Taylor's show is still on, God.
Okay, good.
Samantha Bee.
Yeah. So I mean but I'd say that late night needs to be opened up to more people, except that the late night window is contracting because all of network TV is contracting because people watch on streaming. They're doing stuff on their phones. It's a tough time for TV and movie production in Los Angeles is down 40% since the strike and since COVID. It's a tough. AI is taking away jobs. It's a tough environment.
Gaming is taking away jobs. Do you realize they used to, that Cinema 4D used to be the big go-to to make Cinema 4D, and in terms of making the graphics and stuff like that. Cinema 4D, Maya, and stuff like that. It used to be the big thing. Now they're using actually a gaming engine. Some of the places.
Okay. Well, are jobs increasing in gaming? Because I'm okay with that. If jobs are being lost to gaming, that's not as bad as jobs being, because gaming is great storytelling too, and building worlds.
Yeah, that's the big thing about gaming. Depending on the type of game, like the game that I'm playing right now, Rocket League doesn't have a story, but many of the games do. One of the biggest ones, The Last of Us, that became a TV show on HBO, and the actual show is phenomenal.
And the people who made The Last of Us, I've heard them quoted, maybe I'm getting it wrong, that they wanted to build a game about loss. Which is crazy that, a video game used to be, Pong. And now, if you're really old like me, and now you've got people building games around different emotions. And so gaming is as legit a form of storytelling as TV and movies.
So gaming has always been there. Pong is what people kind of always think of when they think about games when it first came out. But no, gaming's always been there. There is Ultima, which was an RPG that you would type in. There's a whole Oregon Trail was a story game. That was
totally about loss.
By the way, I was wrong. Taylor went off on June 12th, so she had 2 seasons, and she said she wanted to return back to stand-up. So she went back to return to stand-up, but her last show was on June 12th. So she had 2 seasons of that show. So there is room for another woman. But yeah, Taylor Thompson went off this year back in June 12th. So that was her last episode of After Midnight.
Okay.
But it's because it looked like it was partially on her terms because she wanted to get back to doing stand-up.
Yeah, it's a grind coming up with pumping out a daily show.
In terms of gaming, also another thing is there was always the argument: is it a form of artwork or is it just a digital creation? And I consider it a form of artwork because of the actual art and storytelling and all the other parts within it. I mean,
that's an issue in a lot of areas. My daughter is an expert on needlework and home arts, the stuff done by women. Often gets labeled crafts rather than art, because the art is the people who control the academy, basically the art, the bosses of art say there are 2 legit forms of art: painting and sculpture. Everything else is craft, and that's
been changing lately though, because in Durham and in other places, I can tell you here in North Carolina and in DC and a number of other places, quilters, which used to be considered more of a craft, getting entire art shows and everything like that, because that is not a easy art form, and anybody that's done quilting knows that and everything like that. But it is definitely a very complicated art form. So I would argue that what used to be considered crafts is now getting legitimized. I want to say that there have even been quilt exhibits at like Smithsonian and stuff like that.
That's the big thing. I mean, you can even go into movies if you want to talk about movies. How I think it was Black Panther was the first big action movie that got anything directed towards it with what was it, the costume design and some of the other, because like most action movies, especially like your Marvel movies and stuff like that, never get the Academy Awards and all the other stuff because they're just seen as something different. And you get The Shape of Water and everyone else, or all the other movies that a lot of people really haven't heard of. I think the top grossing like movies that end up winning all these awards and stuff, I think what they end up only making 100 million or something like that.
Yeah, sometimes some years the Oscars have been changing this. Now up to 10 movies can get nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah,
But
10 or
10
something
years
like that.
ago, you might get 5 movies, none of which broke 80 million at the box office, being the Best Picture nominees, and it hastened the decline in Oscar ratings. So they've been trying to fix that by getting some bigger box office hits.
Hey, Rick, there was some sad news from your orbit, and speaking of entertainment and everything like that, because I know one of the shows you do is Naked at Night, and they had the female model, but your other host is connected to the Pink Panther, and apparently earlier today, Claudia Cardinale, the Italian actress and star of the Pink Panther, died at the age of 87. So she was considered Italy's girlfriend and everything like that, but she just recently passed, and I know that Lance's father was involved in the creation.
Yeah, Lance's dad created the Pink Panther. And yeah, he's my nemesis co-host on this show. And yes, people should watch the latest episodes of Naked at Night, because we finally got a woman in a bikini into the studio to be drawn by Lance. So if you like a nice tall lady, probably she was taller than me in her shoes, nice tall lady in a bikini, you tune in to find the latest episodes of Naked at Night.
Yep, they can definitely do that. And they said that Claudia Cardinale had toughness, charisma, and central allure, but Hollywood just couldn't do her justice. So that's being reported, is that she was one of those folks that, unlike Sophia Loren, couldn't really get the takeoff that some of the other ones did, like Sophia Loren and Gina Lollobrigida and Monica Vida, who in the American film industry prized not merely for their beauty, but also for their mystery and an exotic feline allure and sense of toughness and survival, and even
Yeah, but back then in the 60s, all it took for somebody to be exotic was for them to have black hair.
That's all it took was for that nature.
Well, also, I mean, it helped that if they had really great boobs. But
I'm gonna try and bring in this other. Actually, instead of bringing in the game, I'll just do this. We were just talking about. Let me see. We were just talking about games and artwork and stuff like that. So it just made me think of one I was going to show people.
Well, Sean Diddy Combs is in the news again because apparently his former stylist is accusing him of sexual abuse and violence in a new lawsuit. So he's already got a couple of lawsuits. Now we got a new one because he's been sued by his longtime stylist Deontay Nash for sexual battery. So it looks like he's back in the news once again for negative news. So hopefully he can get in the news for some positive news at some point or another. While you're looking that up and everything, Rick, have you been following sports? And this is for you to tell me why you're looking that up as well. But I've been watching the football games. I'm not a big fan of, and I get why they're doing it. They want to speed up the game and all of that. But I'm not a really big fan of the kickoffs coming all the way to the 40-yard line. It's almost like I'll tell you another thing that I'm not a big fan of, and it's the extra inning baseball rule where the base runner is automatically placed on second base.
That's brutal. The baseball rule is brutal. because they didn't want games going 17 innings. So
Right.
now the extra innings in Major League Baseball, once you get to the 10th inning, if you're
Right.
tied after 9 innings, then every inning starts with a base runner on second base,
Right.
and which is in scoring position. So I don't know what the stats are, but probably more than, I don't know, half the time somebody scores a run, which is, in most baseball innings, nobody scores. But now they're putting, giving you a situation where there's more than a 50% chance that somebody's going to score. And, it's not entirely fair.
Well, speaking of baseball and these rules and everything, and I know Jacoby works in that field to some degree and everything like
Mark.
that. Apparently, MLB is going to allow players to challenge balls and strikes in 2006, and they're going to have a robot up. And I know that there's robot things in football as well. So we're going to have AI. I know we love to talk about AI in the sports world because the MLB approved, this was yesterday, the robot. So the robots will be calling the plays, but you can challenge them as well.
Yeah, that I'm okay with that. I mean, it means
That's been around for a while.
that means maybe some ump jobs lost. I don't know. I guess they'll still have an ump behind the plate, right?
Yes, so that's been around for a long time.
And-
They test out a lot of stuff in minor league baseball before they test it out. They haven't run into Major League Baseball. So the robotics or the challenges and everything else, that's been around for a very long time.
So umps blow. I mean, that's making calls. The ball is coming at you. It takes, I think, less than half a second for the ball to travel from the pitcher to the plate, and the ump, that a human ump would get it right every time, is almost impossible. And you just hope that a bad call on strike and balls doesn't affect the outcome of the game. I mean, they're highly skilled, but it's a tough job.
I mean, the actual challenge system works well. I mean, I was skeptical when they first started doing it, but it works actually well. You have just your 2 challenges. If you keep actually getting it right, you keep your challenges. If you miss it, well, I mean, you get 3 challenges. If you miss it, then you lose your challenge. Mark, can you pull up But yeah, so the actual system works really well, and it's been around for a while. It's just a new thing that people have to get used to. This is one of those games. This honestly is one game that they need to make a movie out of. I'm still trying to figure out where. Well, I've got to do some research in terms of where the history of the game comes from, where the idolatry, what they're referencing and stuff. But it's well done, and overcoming grief and how
It's been a long time. She made a promise to the one she loved, dead now, but no less. A promise. Not one soul more would suffer as he had. She carries him in her heart. His death, his life, will drive her on. She will forge a purpose from his death, make meaning from pain. And then the Northmen came again to our land, stripping us of our names, our lives, of everything that makes us who we are, beating and blinding, taking us as slaves. These Northmen sail under a blood-red sign. And one among them they call Master. Senua will follow that sign. She let herself be taken, dragged in chains to their ships, so she can trace the poison to its source, find the heart, and cut it out. Stop the slavers. Keep her promise. But plans can drift off course.
and the story is so compelling, and you can't tell.
Begins as it ends.
But
Alone
as this
in
young,
the dark.
as they're telling you or doing the narration, it's bouncing from ear to ear. So you have all this happening, and if you think about overcoming grief and think about how many voices are in your head at one time, and the bouncing back and forth of the messages.
So yeah, I mean, this is as accomplished as you know a movie. It's really the map of a movie. The Last of Us pretty much took the game scene for scene and translated it into a TV series.
And that's what this should be. This hurts when you're playing it because you're panicked because you got all these voices.
I think in the future, the line between video game and TV show and movie will become super blurred. But if you like a video game, if you like a TV show or a movie, you'll be able to live in it. That there will be a world, a virtual world that you can just walk around in and spend a bunch of time in. And other people who want to live in the same world will spend hours a day living in that world as if you're residents there.
That's Ready Player One.
Survive. Come on, get up quick.
But as you hear, like in the game now, you're hearing her tell you all these 50 different things. And what are you supposed to look
And yeah, this isn't perfect. You can see that the people look great, but you can tell that they're not actual actors on camera, that there are, that they're CG generated characters. But that doesn't take away from the enjoyment and the drama of what you're seeing.
A dream has foundered with the ship. She must find a new light to steer by. I'm the next sign.
But it's just wild when you play this game. It's
Too cold.
Hey, just tell me while I'm thinking about it. I know we're World Edition, but it's good. And actually, Rick kind of alluded to it, even with what went on with the World Trade Center some 24 years ago and everything. But you got an event or something coming up that's going to be honoring the policemen and the firemen and folks like that, even in our area, because floods even hit our area and everything. So you want to share a little bit about that? I know it's a World Edition, but we do have people even in our area, and they might be interested in said event and everything like that. So if you want to share about that, I'm good, because it's definitely something that will support policemen here in the area, but our policemen and firemen need to be supported around the world.
Who is that for?
You got an event coming up. You sent it to me on social media, or you would tell me about it.
Oh, that's defendingdurham.org. It's a did I put .com on that thing or .org? Hopefully I did. Oh wow. But yeah, it's a fundraiser to help raise money for Durham Public School System, Durham Police Department, Durham Fire Department, Durham EMS, Western North Carolina, which is still struggling with their recovery efforts, and the Old Farm area in Durham, North Carolina, which is around the Eno, which flooded just about a month and a half ago, where it took out a lot of, it destroyed a lot of that area that is still being covered right now. So it's a big fundraiser. DefendingDurham.org. But Rick, this one's for you. If you like French stuff, this is the most French game I've ever played. It's awesome. Friggin' awesome.
So what's happening here? It looks like you're blowing up some ruins.
That's Paris.
Yeah.
because he saw the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe.
So what's happening here? What's causing the problem?
The world is, well, I guess since the rapture happened yesterday.
Yeah, it was supposed to be between today and yesterday. So
Yeah. So
the
this is
prediction was
basically
today.
a world where you have to go on these expeditions because there's something destroying the planet. You can only live to the age of 33. So you go on these expeditions to try and figure out what it
Sorry, the music's too loud for us to hear what you're saying.
But yeah, you only live to a particular age, and then you die. You go on these expeditions because you're trying to figure out what's causing not only these deaths, what's causing the end of the world. Something is going on, and they've been counting the expeditions, and you're on expedition number 33. And expedition 1 disappeared, expedition 2 disappeared, and you have to go to this area and figure out what's killing everything.
Well, let me ask you this. So my experience as a video game player pretty much ended with Tetris 30 years ago. Is there any way in for an old guy who hasn't played video games in forever to enter into these games? It looks like wildly complicated.
Yeah, there are a ton of games out there that I think you would enjoy just because you were a Tetris player. But I also know you like story. So there are plenty of games out there that are non-complex and want to test your ability to think about things. Like, my guess is you're a person who likes to build. That's why I tried to put Sasha on the Civilization. Civilization is one of the best games out there, especially for someone coming off of Tetris, that it's not complex. It gets complex it gets complex when you're trying to get the intricacies of the society.
So
like this game is great.
Is Civilization a game where you start off in the Stone Age and then over centuries you build like a whole? Because I see that advertised, and the way they advertise it to boomers is they show you a pop-up of like a medieval wench with her boobs spilling out of her top, and it's like the implication is if you play this video game, you'll get to get all over this wench.
No, so what I think you would enjoy is this. This is actually history. The cool part about Civilization,
mastery of the spoken word is a gift of great
this
value.
talks about the Greek Empire.
Here, cut out the background narration because we can't hear you.
But yeah, what they do is they give you a character. You are a character in the world, or in history, in world history. They throw you in. Right now, you got the Greek Empire. So now you go into the Greek Empire, and you're having to legitimately build. So you take this one little area.
All right. Okay. So, but Sasha's here.
Sasha, I was actually going to Sasha something about.
Well, hold on. No. Let me ask Sasha. So Sasha is an expert on NVIDIA, and how is AI, which is powered by these NVIDIA chips and systems, how is AI going to make these games even more intricate and crazy?
There's something about this up to $100 billion investment of NVIDIA into AI. It's not 100 billion, it's up to 100 billion. So $1 will do exactly that. Okay? So far, no money changed hands. And that little news, up to 100 billion, actually, they could put up to $10 trillion. It just does the same thing. The shares of NVIDIA, they jumped up over $1 a share on that day. You know what means over $1 a share on NVIDIA? It means billions of dollars right there. So without investing even a penny, NVIDIA already went up significantly in price. And what you can say, bravo, Good job. Now they also invested or about to invest in 5 billion into Intel. Another excellent news for Nvidia, because Intel 5 billion for Nvidia, it's nothing. Like it's for me to buy a cup of coffee. So they're doing now a fantastic job of increasing their ecosphere and their perceived power and collaborating with other company. Now AI with or without NVIDIA, um, there's another idea is that if indeed AI will go and build all these centers, information centers, and so on, they will need a lot of chips, and they will have to buy chips. Which one? NVIDIA, of course. So NVIDIA actually helps AI to buy their own chips. It's a wonderful business model. I'm a big fan of NVIDIA, and their management is doing absolutely fantastic things. Jensen was in London with Trump, and so whatever new build up of UK data centers, that will benefit NVIDIA just as well. Also, NVIDIA getting on a good grace with Trump, so there will be no new taxes or the tariffs and so on. Okay, so that's my view on NVIDIA. Whether it will go much higher in price, I think it will consolidate here around 178, 200, maybe. Their next quarterly report is in the end of November. So I think during October, of course, not right now. Right now, nothing will happen because it's a Jewish New Year and then Yom Kippur next week. So all the top traders, of course, being Jewish, they're not doing much of the market. So wait until mid next week, then things will start moving.
Right. So I feel like as AI moves into video games more and more, that video game characters are going to gain more and more autonomy. There was a movie in 2019 starring Ryan Reynolds called Free Guy, which is about a background player who acquires consciousness. Are we going to see the characters in video games attaining more and more autonomy?
Just to point out, the reason why video game players aren't really thrown off a whole bunch by AI is because it's been all this stuff. The NPCs have been a part of gaming since the beginning. So we're used to NPCs. We're used to the multiple answers that you get from different NPCs and getting back. Grand Theft Auto was great about it. So we're used to all of that. AI getting into video games is more so AI doing more of the crafting of things. Because the challenges like chess right now, what do you think about what matter of fact, there was a company that used AI to create their game. That was Rick and Morty's game, or the creators of Rick and Morty made a video game. I'm blanking on the name right now, but they actually got in trouble for using AI to create their backgrounds and everything else. That kills a lot of levels. But yeah, AI has been around for video game players forever, and they're used to it. Like in Detroit, in Life, there are a couple of like question and answer games that you'll play, and yeah, you're kind of used to that now and bought into that. Matter of fact, Ages of Empires 2, Mike had pointed out, that's a great, Empire Earth is a great one. Ages of Empire is also another one. For you, Rick, yeah, think games similar to Risk, the old board game Risk. That
was a miserable game to play. That was a bunch of nerds on Saturday night who couldn't get dates, spending 6 hours. It's like Monopoly. I'm not sure anybody ever wins a game of Risk. It just goes on forever.
But
You're basically trying to take over
what
the
I
world.
want to point out to Mike, who's watching, Mike needs to play War Pips. Rick, you might enjoy War Pips because it's just a goofy game. There are two games. This one, War Pips, which is just a straight through goofy game where it's a capture the flag type game where one side puts down their characters, you put down your characters, and we go to town. We see what happens. Either you're going to win or you're always playing the computer. So in War Pips, all you're doing, you're trying to take over this land. You got to get to this flag. You have to take your pips or your characters, decide which ones you want to take onto this map. And after you decide them, you set them down. Try and send them over there to capture this area. Once you capture that area, then you move to the next land. It's pretty fun. It's rather addictive. Ages of Empire, Empire Earth, and all, and Civilization all online. You can play against other people. War Pips, you can't. There's this game. There's also this one. I think you would have fun with, Rick, because I think you have a sense of humor like mine. This is called Tabs, or Totally Accurate Battlefield Simulator, or Battle Simulator. This is one of the dumbest games, but it's another one where it's not hard to get the hang of it. You're not actually having to do a lot of movement that is going to get you all thrown off by.
So what you throw goofy ingredients into like a battle, like
you pick your characters.
All right, so but let's talk about like people watching this are like, why are we watching a bunch of video games? It's just a bunch of nerds doing stuff. But it's not. It's a huge industry. Last year, movies worldwide grossed $32 billion. Video games grossed 6 times as much, $190 billion. So the video game industry is 6 times as large as the movie industry.
So with Tabs, the funny part about it, just to get back to this, the Tabs funny part about it, you choose your characters. Like they grab people with spears, and you progress in different eras of time. So this individual is going to put down a protector, some people with clubs. You have a particular amount of money you can spend on your characters. Then you hit go, and then it's ragdoll physics, meaning that it's like holding a toy stuffed animal and swinging it around, bouncing it around. So as you see your protector, they're protecting.
Okay, so speaking of stuffed animals, lying down and everything like that, I did have a quick question for Sasha, because I did see that Moscow apparently gave Donald Trump a zoology lesson because they insisted that Russia is a bear. I know that that's their symbol before, and not a paper tiger on the geopolitical stage. So apparently Dmitry Peskov said on RBC radio, Russia is by no means a tiger. Russia is traditionally seen as a bear. There's no such thing as paper bears. Russia is a real bear. There's nothing paper about it. So apparently they were responding to his pro-Ukraine remarks. So is Russia losing its power and everything like that? Because apparently that's what they're trying to imply, is that they are still a major player, because they brushed off Trump's broadside, taking exception to the U.S. president's remarks that Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble, and this is the time for Ukraine to act. But apparently they went back to that notion of being a bear and everything like that. So are they in deep trouble, and are they not as strong as they used to be in your mind? Because you study that area much more than I do.
In my mind, what something happened is that Trump, through Europeans, trying to make back bridges with India. Perhaps it will work out. Because India doesn't want to have U.S. as an enemy, although the way Trump treated Modi was quite offensive. But again, time goes by, and now Europeans are sending their delegations to India, offering them to participate in new high-tech projects, which will be headed by UK. And it seems to me that it will work out. Now, if Trump is going to do something to endear China to U.S. through different trade deals. There is a discussion about a new order from China Airlines for 500 Boeing aircrafts and maybe some other deals or so on. So if that could soften, then it would leave Russia alone in this world. It will be ostracized by Europeans and Americans and Chinese and India, and the only friend will be left is North Korea. That's not a very viable position. So this is actually what's happening in a big game, and also Trump change his rhetorics about that Ukraine is going to lose anyway. It's just a matter of when, because Russia is much bigger and stronger. All that garbage is gone now. I was looking at Western press for the last, say, week and a half. There was no such thought as, sooner or later Ukraine will lose, Russia is much bigger and stronger. It's all gone for a week and a half in all Western press, starting from Europe to United States. There is nothing to suggest that Russia somehow could win this war. And finally, yesterday was complete turnaround that it's exactly Ukraine going to win the war. Go and figure out.
Yeah. Well, I know that at 1 o'clock we've got the investment show. Can wrap up this show, but definitely one of the things that I'm sure y'all will be talking about is apparently federal Powell, or the Fed's Powell, is warning that stocks are highly valued, and he's saying that, and others are saying that the stock market looks like a locomotive in danger of running out of steam. And I guess folks are trying to figure out what Jerome Powell is going to do to make things go better. So I know that your friend is very much into the S&P 500 and everything like that. So I'm sure that y'all will have conversations about that at 1 o'clock and everything like that. So definitely we'll look forward to that conversation at 1 o'clock and to see what our thoughts are on the stock market and on investment.
And for a large audience right now, it's not such a bad idea to get into cash. Everything cash, stocks, bonds, gold, whatever you have, go into cash. And that cash would be gainfully employed maybe a month and a half from now.
And I'm sure that we'll be hearing about that as well. Apparently, Ford is offering special financing to riskier F-150 buyers with lower credit scores, so that might be discussed as well. But right now, we're going to get on out of here, and I'll see you at 1 o'clock for Modern Investment. And I know that definitely Jim Eady will be there because he said he'd be there yesterday, and yourself, and hopefully Milan, who is the guy that loves the S&P 500 and everything like that. So we'll be seeing y'all at that particular time, and y'all can have y'all's debate about whether S&P 500 is better or whether you as the market wizard are the better one and everything like that. So we're going to get on out of here, and I'll see you at 1 o'clock.
See ya.